I believed my life was perfect. That's what I told Marcus over coffee. I'm serious, I said. I've got a woman who loves me, a job that pays the bills, and a future I can finally see. Marcus laughed. Man, don't jinx it. Not joking, I said. Emily is the one. I'm going to marry her. You better tell her that, he said. I will soon. That was the last normal conversation I ever had. That night I was working late. My phone buzzed on the desk. Ignored it at first, then it buzzed again, and again. I sighed. I checked the screen. Unknown number. I opened the message. She's not where she says she is. My chest tightened. I typed back. Who is this? 3 dots appeared. Then another message go to the Skyview Lounge. Ask for Emily. My hand started shaking. I called her, no answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail, I whispered. Pick up. Nothing. I grabbed my jacket and rushed out. The drive felt unreal. Every red light felt like an enemy. My thoughts raced. This is a mistake. Someone is messing with me. Emily wouldn't do this. I parked outside the lounge and stared at the entrance. Get it together, I said. I walked inside. The music was loud. The lights were low. I scanned the room. Then I saw her. Emily was sitting in a corner booth. Wearing the dress I bought her last month, she was laughing. Not with me. With him, a tall man in a black suit leaned close to her ear. She smiled and touched his hand. My heart dropped. I walked toward them. Each step felt heavier. She noticed me. First, her smile vanished. The man turned and looked at me. Who's this? He asked. Emily stood up fast. What are you doing here? I should be asking you that, I said. Her eyes darted around. You're embarrassing me. Answer me, I said. Who is he? The man smirked. Relax, buddy. Don't call me that, I said. Emily crossed her arms. This is Ryan. Ryan stood and offered his hand. Nice to meet you. I ignored it. Emily, I said, why are you here with him? She sighed. Because I want to be. Dry, you said you were working late. She shrugged. Plans change? Then why didn't you answer my calls? She looked away. Ryan leaned back. Yo, man, maybe you should leave. I laughed. Leave. I'm her boyfriend. Ryan raised an eyebrow. That's so? Emily didn't say anything. Emily, I said quietly. Tell him. She looked at me like I was a stranger. I never said we were serious, she said. My chest burned. We've been together 2 years, so, she said. So you tell me you love me, I said. She scoffed. People say things. Ryan smiled. She told me you were temporary. I stared at her. Is that true? She hesitated. That was enough, I whispered. Say it. She lifted her chin. Yes, the word hit harder than any punch. Why? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Because you're weak. I laughed in disbelief. Weak. You don't take risks, she said. You don't think big. I work 2 jobs for us, I said. And still you're broke, she replied. Ryan chuckled. I clenched my fists. So, that's it? You trade loyalty for money? She stepped closer. Don't make this dramatic. I planned my life around you, I said. That was your mistake, she said. Ryan leaned in. She deserves more. I looked at him. You think you're more? He smiled. I know I am. Emily nodded. My heart felt like it was breaking. In slow motion. So you were never going to tell me? I asked. She shrugged. I didn't think you'd find out. Yeah, because you thought I'd never leave, I said. She looked away again. That was my answer. I nodded slowly. I see. Brian stood. We're done here. Emily said nothing. I said, I paid half your rent. She laughed. And you bring him into our place? She shrugged. It's my place. I looked at Ryan. You know she cheats, right? He smirked. I don't care. I turned to her. You never loved me. She met my eyes. Loved what you gave me? Silence fell between us. My phone buzzed. Marcus? I answered. Hey, you sound weird. He he said. I just found out Emily has another man, I said. What? He said, I'm at the Skyview Lounge, I said. Coming, he said. No, I replied. Don't. Where are you going? He asked. Home, I said. I hung up. I looked at Emily one last time. She was already sitting back down. Ryan had his arm around her. She didn't look at me. I smiled. Not because I was okay, because I refused to let her see me break. I turned and walked away. Outside, cold air hit my face. My hands were shaking. My chest felt empty. I whispered, You used me. My phone rang again. Marcus, I answered. I'm outside, he said. I leaned against my car. I can't talk. I see you, he said. He ran over and hugged me. I didn't hug back. She chose him, I said. Marcus cursed. I always hated her. I laughed her, pulled back. Come with me. No, I said. Don't be alone tonight, he said. I need to be, I replied. I got into my car. Marcus knocked on the window. Call me. I said I will. I said I drove away at every red light. Her face haunted me. Her smile, her laugh, her lies. When I reached my apartment, sat in the dark, my phone buzzed. A message from Emily. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I replied. You already did, she typed. We can still be friends. I laughed. Out loud, you destroyed me, I typed. 3 dots. Then nothing. I threw my phone on the couch. I whispered, You don't get to decide how this ends. I stood up and looked at my reflection. My eyes were hollow. My jaw was tight. I trusted you, I said to the empty room. I took a deep breath. I loved you, I said. Then I smiled, not because I was healed, because something inside me had snapped. I picked up my phone and blocked her number. I deleted every photo, every message, every memory. I sat back down and stared at the wall. I won't beg, said. I stood and grabbed my jacket. I won't chase, I said. I opened the door. And I won't be your safety net anymore. I walked into the night and I didn't look back. I told myself I wouldn't go back. I said it out loud. Don't go back. My phone sat on the table. Emily's name stared at me from the screen. I picked it up. I knocked on her door. She opened it slowly. Her eyes moved over me like I was a stranger. What do you want? She asked. I need to talk, I said. She sighed. We already talked. No, I said. You talked. I listened. She stepped aside. Make it quick. I walked in. Ryan was sitting on the couch. He smiled back again.
I ignored him.
Looked at Emily. Why did you do it? She crossed her arms. We're really doing this? Yes, I said. I deserve the truth. She laughed. You deserve reality. Then give it to me, I said. She walked past me and grabbed her purse. I'm late, she said. 5 minutes, I said. That's all I'm asking. She stopped. Ryan stood up. I'll wait in the car. She nodded. He leaned close to me. Don't waste your time. The door closed behind him. Silence filled the room. I said I loved you. She rolled her eyes. Love doesn't pay bills. I paid half your rent, I said, and still we struggled, she replied. We were building, I said. She shook her head. You were surviving. There's a difference, she said. I stepped closer. I would have done anything for you. That's the problem, she said. You had nothing else. That's not fair, I said. Life isn't fair. She replied. Ryan buys you gifts, I said. That's what this is about. He buys me opportunities, she said. You used me, I said. She shrugged. You let me? My chest tightened. I trusted you. We're softened for a second. And that's why I stayed. Stayed for what? I asked. For comfort, she said. For safety, I said. For convenience. She replied. I whispered, you never loved me. She looked at the floor. I laughed bitterly. Say it. She met my eyes. I loved the idea of you. I stepped back. So, when were you going to leave? I asked. When Ryan asked me to, she said. My hands shook, so I was just a placeholder. She nodded. Why didn't you end it? I asked. She sighed. Because I didn't think you'd go anywhere. Because you thought I'd always be there? I said. She didn't answer. The door opened. Sophia walked in. She froze when she saw me. Emily, she said, you didn't say he was here. Emily rolled her eyes. It's fine. Sophia looked at me. I'm sorry. For what? I asked. For how she treated you, she said quietly. Emily glared at her. Don't start. Sophia turned to Emily. You're being cruel. Ta. She knew what she was doing, Emily snapped. Sophia said, he loved you. And Emily replied, and you used him, Sophia said. Emily laughed. Don't act holy. Sophia looked at me. You deserve better. I nodded. I thought she was better. Emily grabbed her purse. I don't have time for this. Stepped in front of her. One more question. She sighed. What? Did you ever regret it? I asked. She hesitated. That was all I needed. Ryan walked back in. Ready? He asked. Emily nodded. I said, so that's it? She walked toward the door. Ryan smirked. You should have worked harder. I looked at him. You bought her? He shrugged. She came willingly. Emily said, move. I stepped aside. She stopped and turned to me. You should move on, she said. I laughed. You moved on while we were together. She frowned. Don't be dramatic, Sophia said. Emily, you're wrong. Emily snapped. Stay out of it, Ryan said. Let's go. Emily looked at me one last time. I was embarrassed to be seen with you, she said. Those words cut deeper than anything else. I nodded slowly. Goodbye, I said. She walked out. Sophia stayed. I'm sorry, she said. Don't be, I replied. She never deserved you, she said. I thought she did, said. Sophia handed me my jacket. You left this last time, she said. I took it. Thank you, I said. She hesitated. God. If you need anything. I nodded. I walked out. I sat in my car and stared at the building. Marcus called. Did you go back? He asked. Yes, I said. Why? He said, because I'm stupid, I replied. What happened? He asked. She chose him, I said. Again. He said I wanted answers, I said. And he asked. I got humiliation, I said. He sighed. Come over. I can't, I said. Don't be alone, he said. I need to feel this. I replied. You don't need to suffer, he said. I already am, said. I hung up. I went back inside. Emily's door was open. Her apartment felt empty. I walked to the bedroom. My clothes were gone. My toothbrush was gone. My shoes were. By the door, a suitcase sat on the bed. I laughed. So this is how it ends. I said. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, I answered. Hello, I said. This is Daniel, a voice said. Daniel who? I asked. Your former boss, he replied. Why are you calling me? I asked. I heard about Emily, he said. My stomach dropped. From who? Marcus? He said. Why does it matter? I asked. Because I warned you, he said. About what? I asked. About trusting the wrong woman, he said. I said nothing. You were my best employee, he said. I walked away, I said. You walked away from money, he replied. I walked away from a life I hated, I said. And now? He asked. I don't know, I said. Come see me tomorrow, he said. Why? I asked. Because you need a future, he said, and you need revenge, he added. I clenched my jaw. I don't want revenge. You want justice? He said. I want peace, I replied. You won't find it in that apartment, he said. I looked around. Emily's perfume still filled the air. I'll think about it, I said. Do that. He replied. He hung up. I sat on the bed. I stared at the suitcase. I whispered, you kicked me out of the life I built. My phone buzzed again. A message from Emily. You can pick up your things. Tomorrow, I replied. I already did, she typed. Don't make this ugly. I smiled. You already did. I blocked her. I stood up and grabbed my bag. I walked out. I locked the door behind me. I said, I loved you more than you ever deserved. I walked away, and this time, I meant it. I vanished without warning. No calls, no messages, no goodbyes. I told Marcus, don't try to find me, he said. You're running. Replied, I'm rebuilding. He said, don't disappear. I said, watch me. Left the city. Before sunrise, I blocked every number. I deleted every contact. I packed one bag and drove until the road felt empty. When I arrived, sat in my car and said, this is where I start again. I walked into Daniel's office with nothing but my name. He looked at me and said, you look different. I am, I said. He leaned back. You look hungry? I am, I replied. He smiled. Then you're ready? I asked. Ready for what? Pain, he said. I nodded. I've had worse. He stood. Work starts tomorrow. I said, I don't need rest. He said, you'll need discipline. I said, I have nothing else. He handed me a badge. Don't waste my time. I said, I won't waste. Yours? My first day was brutal. My second day was worse. By the third day, I stopped feeling tired. Daniel said, you don't complain. I said, I don't quit. He said, why? I replied, because I lost everything once. He nodded. Then don't lose again. Months passed. I stopped counting days. I measured progress. I worked while others slept. I learned what others feared. I earned what others wanted. Daniel watched. He said, you're not the same man. I said, that man is gone. He replied. Good. One night he said, you want power? I said, I want control. He said, same thing. I shook my head. Power fades. Control lasts. He smiled. You've learned? I said, pain is a great teacher, he replied. So, is betrayal. Years passed. My name started. Moving my face started showing up. My silence became louder than words. Then fate laughed. I walked into the conference hall. 1,000 voices filled the room. 1,000 faces passed me by. Then everything stopped. Emily stood across the floor. Her eyes met mine. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. I kept walking. She stepped in front of me. I know you, she said. I replied, do you? Her hands shook. It's me. I nodded. I see that. You look different, she said. So do you, I replied. She swallowed. I didn't think you'd be here. I work here, I said. Her eyes widened. You what? I pointed at my badge. She read my name. Her face turned pale. Ryan appeared. Beside her, he froze. I smiled. Long time. Ryan cleared his throat. Didn't expect to see you. Life is full of surprises, I said. Emily whispered. We need to talk, I said. We already did. She stepped closer. Not like this, Ryan said. We're late. Emily ignored him. Please. I looked at her. Please, what? She said, don't be cold. I replied, I'm calm. She said, you disappeared. I nodded. I warned you, she said. You vanished. I said, you erased me first. Ryan said we should go. Emily snapped. Not now. She looked at me. I missed you. I said, you miss comfort. Her eyes filled. I don't know that. I said, I know you. She whispered, I made a mistake. I replied, you made a choice. Ryan shifted. We're under pressure. I smiled. Lawsuits do that. His jaw tightened. Mind your business. I own shares in your business, I said. Emily gasped. You're lying. Daniel walked up beside me. He said, he's not. Ryan's face drained. Daniel said, your company is under investigation. Ryan said, this is confidential. Daniel replied, not. Anymore? Emily whispered, what's happening? I said, karma. Ryan grabbed her arm. We're leaving. She pulled away. Wait, she looked at me. You did this? I said. I built myself. She said, you're punishing me. I replied, you punished yourself. She whispered, I loved you. I laughed softly. You loved my loyalty. She said, I was young. I said, so was I. She said, you were supposed to stay. I said, I was supposed to leave. Daniel. Said we have a meeting. I nodded. Emily grabbed my sleeve. Don't walk away. I looked down at her hand. I said, let go. She did. Ryan said, you think you won? I said, I survived. He glared. This isn't over, Daniel said. It is for you. Ryan walked off. Emily stayed. She said, you changed. I said, you taught me. She whispered. Can we talk later? I replied, there is no later. She said, I don't recognize you. I said, that's the point. A woman stepped beside me. She said, you ready? I nodded. Emily stared. Who is she? I said, someone who respects me. The woman smiled. I'm Claire. Emily looked at her. Do you know him? Claire said, I know his past. Emily whispered, and you still stand here? Claire nodded, 'cause he stood up. Emily turned back to me. You replaced me. I said, you replaced yourself. She said, I would have come back. I said, I never waited. Said, do you hate me? I shook my head. I don't feel anything. Her face crumbled. She said, that's worse. I said, for you, Daniel said. Time I turned to go. Emily said, I need you. I stopped. I looked back. I said, you need money. She whispered, I need you. I replied, you lost me. Claire touched my arm. You okay? I nodded. We walked away. My phone buzzed. Marcus, I answered. Hey, he said. I saw the news. Said, so did they. He laughed. Phew. Did it, I said. I survived. He said, I'm proud of you. I replied, I'm free. He said, she saw you, didn't she? I said, she saw what she lost. I hung up, Claire said. You handled that well. I said, I trained for it. She smiled. You're not broken, I said. I'm forged. She said, that's better. I looked at the stage, I said. I used to beg, Claire said. Now you lead. I nodded. I said, she never expected this. Claire replied, neither did you. I smiled and I walked forward. I saw her name on my phone and felt nothing. Claire noticed.
Who is it?
I said, someone from a past life. She said, do you want to answer? I said, no. The phone kept ringing. I finally picked up. Emily said, it's me. I replied, I know. Her voice shook. Can we meet? I said, why? She whispered, I lost everything. I stayed silent. She said, Ryan is gone. I replied, I heard. He lost the company, she said. I know, I replied. He lost the money, she said. I know. I repeated, he lost the house, she said. I said, and she cried. I lost him. Said, you lost me first. But she whispered. Please. I sighed. Where are you? At the park, she said. I said, I'll come. Claire looked at me. Closure. I nodded. For both of us. She said, I'll wait. I drove in silence. The park was empty. Emily sat on a bench. She looked smaller. She stood when she saw me. Her eyes filled with tears. You came, she said. I replied. You asked. She stepped closer. You look strong. I said, I am. Said I look tired? I said, you are. She wiped her face. I ruined my life. I said, you chose it. She whispered, Ryan left me. I replied, he never stayed. She said, he has nothing now. Said, neither do you. She nodded. That's why I'm here. I crossed my arms. Say it. She swallowed. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I said, you made many. She said, choosing him was the worst. I said, you didn't choose love, she cried. I chose comfort. I replied and lost peace. She nodded. I deserve this. I said, yes. She flinched. I deserve pain. I said, you earned lessons. She whispered, do you still love me? I looked at her. I said, I loved the girl you used to be. She leaned forward. And now, said, she doesn't exist anymore. Her face broke. She dropped to the bench. She covered her mouth. She said, I can't breathe. I said, breathe. She shook her head. I can't survive losing. You twice, I replied. You survived losing your morals. She whispered, "I need you." I said, "You need safety." She said, "I need home." I replied, "You burned it." She looked up, "I can change." I said, "You already did." She stood and grabbed my arm. "Don't leave again," she begged. I gently pulled free. "I already left," I said. She cried louder. "I'll do anything," I said. "You already did," she whispered. "I was young," I said. "So was I," she said. "I was scared." I said, "So was I." She said, "I was greedy." I said, "That's still true." She fell to her knees. People stared. She said, "I'm sorry." I said, "I know." She said, "I hate myself." I replied, "That's your burden." She reached for me. I stepped back. She said, "I loved you." I said, "You loved what I gave." She said, "I need you. You need forgiveness." She whispered, "Give it to me." I said, "I did." She looked confused. "You did?" she asked. I nodded. "For myself," she said. "Then stay." I shook my head. "Forgiveness isn't reunion." She cried harder. "I can't start over." I said, "You already did." She said, "I'm alone." I said, "You chose solitude," she screamed. "I chose you," I replied. "You chose wealth." She said, "I chose wrong." I said, "Now, you choose growth," she whispered. "I choose you." I said, "I choose peace." She stood slowly. Her eyes were empty. She said, "So this is it?" I nodded. "This is it." She said, "You're really gone." I said, "I never came back." She wiped her face. I waited. I replied, "I moved on." She said, "I dreamed of you." I said, "I built without you." She said, "I hoped." I said, "I healed." She said, "I believed you'd save me." I said, "I saved myself." She whispered, "I need a miracle." I replied, "You had one." She said, "You." I said, "You lost me." She stepped back. She looked around. She said, "Ryan took everything." I said, "You gave it." She said, "I have nothing left." Said, "You have tomorrow." She shook her head. "I'm scared." She said, "Good." She said, "Why?" Replied, "Fear teaches." She said, "I deserve punishment." I said, "Life already punished you." She said, "I deserve you walking away." I said, "Yes." She closed her eyes. She whispered, "I thought you'd always be there." I replied, "I was." She said, "Until I wasn't." I said, "Until you weren't." She looked at me. She said, "Don't hate me," I said. "Then why does this hurt so much?" I said, "Because truth is heavy." She said, "Carry me." I said, "Carry yourself." She nodded slowly. She said, "Goodbye." "Goodbye." She turned away. I walked past her. She didn't follow. My phone buzzed. "Claire, you done?" She asked. "Yes." I said, "You okay?" She asked. "I'm free," I replied. She said, "Come home." I said, "I'm already there." I looked at the sky. I whispered, "Some people think revenge is loud." I kept walking. Mine was silent. I got into my car. She thought I'd always be there. I started the engine until I vanished from her life forever. I drove forward, and I didn't look back.